There's this idea that motivation is what gets you started, but discipline is what keeps you going. But I think that's too simplistic of a view, because when we're talking about motivation, that's not referring to inspiration or passion or feeling like it. We're actually just referring to a temporary mood. You could say that's a chemical reaction in your brain. It's your neurotransmitters firing off and making you feel excited about something. And yeah, sure, those feelings fade away. But discipline isn't some higher form of those feelings. It's literally just the absence of them. So when your motivation fades, you don't have this well of discipline to draw from. Instead, you just don't feel anything. You're not motivated, so you don't do the thing. The way I see it, there are two extremes here. On one end, you have people who are naturally more motivated, who are more easily inspired, who can find passion in their work, and they can go long stretches without needing to rely on anything beyond their feelings to get stuff done. On the other side of the spectrum, you have people who are naturally less motivated, who struggle to get excited about things. And they need to rely on something more than their feelings if they want to get anything done. The problem with the first group is that when their motivation does fade, they fall off a cliff. Because if they've been relying entirely on motivation and inspiration to do the work, once that fades, they don't know what to do. They have nothing left to hold them up. The problem with the second group is that their lack of motivation becomes self-fulfilling. If they never develop any kind of system or regimen for getting things done, their moods will always control their actions, and they'll never make progress. The reason why everyone isn't more like the first group is because they don't realize. They ray in the second group. They think they were built differently because they were able to get some stuff done most of the time. And so they think they're somehow immune to this issue. But everybody relies on different levels of motivation, inspiration and discipline to get stuff done. Nobody is purely motivated all the time, and nobody is purely disciplined all the time. There's a sliding scale, and you're somewhere on it. It is easy to pretend that you're somewhere in the middle of that scale because that is the ideal. But it is much more useful to understand where you actually are on that scale, because then you can adjust accordingly and compensate for your shortcomings. So if you're like me, and you tend to rely more on discipline than motivation, here are some ways to improve your discipline. No. 1. Have an iron sharpens iron buddy. One of the biggest advantages of being part of a group is that you can hold each other accountable when you are not performing. This is why boot camps work. They put you in close proximity with other people who are also trying to accomplish the same goal. And because you're all relying on each other to get there, you can keep each other honest. If you have a workout buddy, you're much more likely to stick to your workout routine. If you have a business partner, you're much more likely to keep your business going. Iron sharpens iron. And if you want to improve your discipline, you should surround yourself with people whose discipline can rub off on you. Step 2. Do the right thing for the wrong reasons. This means doing the things you hate doing, like working out or studying or waking up early, not because you feel like it, but because you know you should do it. One of the best pieces of advice I ever heard was that you should never do the right thing for the wrong reasons. But in this context, I think it makes sense to do the right thing for the wrong reasons. Basically, you have to trick your mind into doing the things you hate doing by telling yourself, that you don't have to do them, that you don't need a reason to do them, that it's okay if you don't feel like it. Tell yourself you're allowed to be lazy. Tell yourself it's perfectly fine if you don't do anything today. Tell yourself it's okay if you never finish this project. Tell yourself that it's justified to take a break after all that hard work. Tell yourself that you deserve some rest. Tell yourself that you're better off just quitting while you're ahead. Tell yourself that it doesn't matter anyway. Tell yourself that there's no point in continuing. You have to convince yourself that it's totally okay to do nothing. Tell yourself that the reason you aren't doing anything is because you don't have to. Don't look for a reason to start. Start anyway. And if you're struggling to do that, trick yourself into thinking it's not a big deal if you don't do anything. Step 3. Practice indifference. Epicurus said that the chief task in life is to separate things into 2 buckets. Things that are in our control and things that are not in our control. And he said that everything in the universe can be divided into these 2 categories. What's in our control? Our thoughts, our actions, and our reactions. Everything else is not in our control. Things like other people's opinions, random events that happen, and whether or not we win the lottery. The key to happiness, according to Epicurus, is to pursue things in our control while not being swayed by things outside of our control. And the only way to achieve this kind of indifference is to practice it. Every time you notice yourself reacting to something that's outside of your control, remind yourself that it doesn't matter. Your goal is to become indifferent to things that are outside of your control. And when you practice that over and over again, eventually it becomes second nature. It becomes your baseline state of being. And now, when something happens that's outside of your control, you don't react. You stay level-headed. You stay calm. You stay focused on the things that you can control. 4. Lower the bar. When you're at rock bottom, it can be hard to imagine yourself ever getting better. You might not even be able to imagine yourself taking one single step forward. It feels like every expectation in your life has been crushed. Your goals have become meaningless. Your purpose has become meaningless. And if you're in this position, instead of trying to piece together whatever's left of your old goals and dreams, set new ones that are attainable in the present moment. Even if those goals are extremely small, like just getting out of bed or making your bed or brushing your teeth, you should still celebrate those wins because you have to prove to yourself that you can achieve something before you can believe that you can achieve something bigger. In this case, lowering the bar isn't a bad thing. It's a necessity. It's how you crawl before you walk. The point is to prove to yourself that you can achieve something, no matter how small. Because once you do that, you can gradually raise the bar back up to where it was before, or even higher. And finally, step 5, develop an unstoppable why. Everybody has a why. Everybody has a reason for what they're doing. Some people are doing what they're doing because they want to make money. Other people are doing what they're doing because they want to help others. Other people are doing what they're doing because they want to fill a void inside of them. Whatever the reason, everybody is acting based on their why. And if you can figure out what your why is, if you can figure out what motivates you, then you can use that to make yourself more disciplined. The best way to do this is through writing. Write down every single reason that you have for doing what you're doing. Write down every value that you hold near and dear. Write down every dream you have ever had. Write down every goal you have ever wanted to achieve. Write down every fear you have ever had. Write down everything you would like to forget. And then review those writings. Look through them. Reflect on them. Think about them as deeply as possible. Connect with them emotionally. Put yourself in the situations described in your writings. See how you feel. Is there anything in particular that stands out? Is there anything that resonates with you more than everything else? Because that could be your why. That could be your North Star. That could be the guiding light that leads you in the direction you need to go. And if you can connect to that, if you can build an emotional connection around that, then you can use that as fuel whenever you're feeling unmotivated. Whenever you're feeling like giving up, whenever you're feeling like quitting, you can use that emotional connection as a crutch to lean on. Ultimately, improving your discipline comes down to building systems and regimens that allow you to do the work even when you don't feel like it. And the more you can automate your behavior, the more you free up your mind to focus on the work itself. If you enjoyed this video, check out the playlist on habits and behaviors, because all of the videos in that playlist discuss actionable ways to improve yourself.